Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Coming at you a little bit later than normal here on June 20th, Tuesday, June 20th, 2023, with a slew of birthdays and a couple of events. Not really anything major in terms of events, but we'll go ahead and start with those like we always do. On this day in 1982 at Michigan International Speedway, Cale Yarborough beat Darrell Waltrip in a very competitive and I don't want to say controversial finish, but one that left DW unhappy and stuck in the mud in turn one after the race. It took to almost 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the evening for the race to finish because of several rain delays throughout the day. And if I remember correctly and remember reading correctly, this was the race that when the fans were booing DW, he said he'd go challenge them all to a fight in the Kmart parking lot. With that being said, DW eventually became a more popular driver over time. And was more known for, nowadays, his TV work more than his driving. On this day in 2010, Jimmy Johnson won the Cup race at Sears Point, Sonoma, and Finion, whatever it was called at the time, after leader Marcus Ambrose stalled under caution while trying to save fuel. Jimmy led the final 7 laps to record his first career Cup Series win on a road course. I believe he did not win at Watkins Glen, so I think this, to date, is still his only Cup race victory on a road course. On this day in 2021, Kyle Larson won the inaugural Cup Series race at the Nashville Superspeedway, en route to his first series championship that year. So let's get the birthdays out of the way that I do not have cards for. Born on this date in 1988, Courtney Force, current drag racing top fuel star. Born on this date in 1965, another drag racing star, legend, and champion, Ron Capps. Former Dash Series driver in NASCAR. He did dabble a little bit in Busch and trucks, I think, with not much success. Born on this date in 1977, David Hutto. I do have a card of his. He only had one produced, the 1995 Max Top 5 of 2005 insert set. I've got one somewhere. I don't know where it's at. So we're going to start off with the ones that we do have cards of. Born on this date in 1943, NASCAR Hall of Famer and one of the 75 greatest drivers, though he was originally listed to the 50 greatest drivers, Mr. Jerry Cook, modified driver, modified standout. So there's a little bit of information about Mr. Cook. Of course, like we just mentioned, excuse me, he is in the Hall of Fame. So a lot has been said about him in recent years. Born on this date in 1968. Only got one card of him, but he's featured. He really doesn't have like an individual card, but he's featured on a couple cards. This one's from the 91 Petty Pro set. Mr. Richie Petty. There you see him there with the driving uniform on. He is the son of Maurice and the nephew of Richard. Of course, the grandson of Lee Petty. There's a little bit of information about Richie. And we'll have to get Mark Petty here later on this year. And there's Tim Petty as well on this card. Excuse me. But Richie has been interviewed in the Scene Volt podcast. And if you go over and check their YouTube channel out, Petty Family Garage. I believe that's what it's called. Petty Garage, Petty Family Garage. It's a really, really nice channel. Lots of history, lots of information, lots of great interviews there. Born on this date in 1957, former television personality in NASCAR, currently hosts some programs on Sirius XM Radio, Mr. Pat Patterson. Of course, this is from the Max Update set, so there's a little bit about Pat. And we're going to keep moving forward here. Born on this date in 1987, and I'm basically going to run through my whole collection of what I have of him. Current Xfinity Series driver who's made the playoffs a handful of times in his career, still seeking that first career win. He's got a couple second place finishes. Mr. Ryan Sieg. So we do have some 2020 Donruss here. Got that 88 throwback. Going to have a couple parallels here. The gray border, the orange border, another gray border. He doesn't have a lot of cards out there. He's only been in a couple of sets. Got a Titan there, part of the Chronicles. Got a few more of these 85 throwbacks. What else do we have? See, another orange border. So he doesn't have a lot in terms of variety. And the 21 Donruss, with the controversial, is that an Alabama or is that an Atlanta Braves cap? Either way, not sure if Panini has licensing rights to that, but just find that kind of interesting. I've never really brought it up much before on the channel, but I know others have. I just think it's pretty cool. And then our final one, NASCAR Hall of Famer, multiple Truck Series champion. We'll spit it out here correctly in a minute. Mr. Ron Hornaday. So he started out, his NASCAR career was really bookended by the Truck Series. He started there and finished there, but he did dabble in the Cup and Busch Series briefly. Drove for DEI for a while. A lot of Napa. I mean, there you see Napa United, Napa Brakes. Of course, they had Action. Papa John's was one of their first sponsors. Just Napa parts. If it was Napa, it was on Hornaday's truck. He moved up to the Busch Series for a year from the trucks. He actually may have been there 2 years, I think. 1 or 2 years. So I know he was there in 2000, 2001. He moved up to A.J. Foyt's team in the Cup Series with that Conseco car. It was a nice-looking car, just the team was not competitive. He went back down to the Busch Series for Richard Childress, won a few more races there, spent a couple years driving the 2 car. You see a good look at the 2 car. And these next ones are just a revolving door of sponsorships that Hornaday had, winding down his career, driving for KHI and a couple other owners. You know, just tons. I think that was VFW there. Anderson Maple Syrup. Not sure who that is. Joe and Dent, I don't know. Again, Camping World. And then we'll get into some of the actual trucks. So we got the Papa John's truck. That's a sharp-looking truck, to be truthful. Then there's a better look at his Busch car. Of course, Clint Boyer took over for him when he moved back to the trucks. There's a Tide truck. There's his KHI truck, modeled after Harvick's Goodwrench car. There's a Copart truck. Camping World. We're going to end with Armor Meats. So there you have it, folks. All of our birthdays today. We had quite a few of them today. Lots of Hall of Famers. Lots of potential rising stars in today's mix. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.